I wanted to talk about my experience in Green Bay and Lambeau in general. So I was able to go out to Green Bay with one of my best friends. I've known him for quite a long time. I trained him at my first ever job that I got when I was 16 years old, and I left when I was 19. So it's been a while since I've known this guy, Jackson. He's been here with me on the show before. He sat in this very room. He was my first ever in-person guest on Ram Showcase, and me and him made the trip out to Green Bay. So it was a pretty hectic weekend, and I'm still extremely exhausted. As of time of recording, this right now is 10:18 LA time on Thursday night. I have not yet gotten a nice night of sleep since returning. But hey, we're all good. Also, it is extremely cold here in, okay, my computer says it's -13 right now. So I also thought that was kind of funny. Everybody's like, oh, going to Lambeau, Monday Night Football in December. You better bundle up, dude. You're not going to be ready for it. It's much colder here right now than it was in Green Bay the entire time we were out there. And it was cold. I'm not going to try to play any games with you or anything, but I was also fine. We were a couple of Colorado dudes out there with plenty of layers. We had heaters and stuff like that. We were A-okay, good to go. So I did not sleep Saturday night into Sunday, which was the day that we left, because I was at work until 11 o'clock, and then we hit the road for the airport at about 2:30. So I was like, if I go to sleep right now, that's going to be bad news. All right, we're going to have a bad time trying to rush up to the airport if we can even still make our flight, because I know myself pretty well. I've known me most of my life, and I know that I was not about to wake up. But I will say this, every single thing worked out in our favor the entire trip. And let me just lay that out for you. So we head out there. We get to DIA, the airport in Denver, and everything is super smooth. We get right through, right to our gate, eat a donut that got freshly delivered right as we are there at Dunkin', waiting for our gate. We hit the road, or hit the skies, I should say, and we get to Minnesota, where we have a 6-hour layover. But it was fine. We sat down, got some food, found a nice little corner where we could try to get some sleep. I got about 20 minutes maybe, but we made a friend out there, Sam, who is a Green Bay Packers fan, and kind of just in passing, like, hey, what up, man? You're going to the game? Oh, awesome. So are we. First time. Yeah. And then we kind of just went about our ways. And then he ended up joining us for the tour. We'll talk about that here in a second, though. But so we'll just kind of cut to the chase. I don't need to give you every detail or anything like that, but we get to Green Bay finally. And our Uber driver that picks us up from the airport, absolutely unbelievable. She's got like these, I don't think I have one right now, but she gives us these little pamphlets of things that we need to see at the stadium, a little ornament. I mean, it's a Packers ornament, but it's cool stuff, you know, but absolutely unbelievable. The hotel, awesome little spot, plenty of character. The employees there were awesome. Just a cool little spot. You could tell that place has been there for such a long time. So then we kind of we're real quick there. We kind of just drop our stuff and then kind of load up and go, because we have the tour of Lambeau Field that night. So our Uber to the stadium tour, plenty of stories about, you know, players that she had driven, including people like Devontae Adams that had been in her car before, simply because it's just such a small city. And that kind of stuff just happens when these guys go out and they want an Uber or something like that. It's just a random person. It's just anybody like me or you that it happens to be an Uber, and it's just a small town vibe. The pro shop out there, by the way, absolutely massive. Wasn't ready for that at all. I thought that the equipment room in Los Angeles was pretty big, and no, this one absolutely blows that one away. But the equipment room's still better because it's full of Rams stuff, and that's the best part. The tour, unbelievable tour. I'll be sharing pictures as I'm kind of talking here on the YouTube channel, but the tour was unbelievable. Our guide Joe was hilarious. Everyone had some nice, friendly trash talk, so we had some good little razzing back and forth and all that stuff with the entire group, including Joe and everything. So real cool stuff. Afterwards, headed to Kroll's East, and Kroll's West is the one that's right by the stadium, but I got a hot tip from a local that Kroll's East was actually the one to go to, considering the fact that Kroll's West, they limit their menu on game weekends, and they also kind of jack up their prices a little bit. And Kroll's East, It's been around since like the 30s or something like that. And you could tell, and it was unbelievable. Absolutely loved Kroll's East. Small town vibe, and got an absolutely delicious brat there. So I was awesome. The game day bundle up. Obviously, we were kind of just we were kind of just loading up on our layers and making sure that we felt okay. We walked over to the gas station just to make sure it's like, okay, no, I'm feeling all right. My fingies might get a little chilly, but hey, that's all good. You know, we're just here. Like the whole idea is to not die out there, not to not feel cold. You know what I mean? It's Lambeau Field in December on Monday Night Football. You're supposed to feel a little bit cold. You're just not supposed to die. Also wanted to throw it out there that on my pregame live, this was a lot more loose than I was used to. So I actually did pull that down, and simply not for anything crazy. But I will say that there was some language used on there that I don't necessarily prefer to be used on Ram Showcase. So that is pulled down. If you participated in that live, well, I thank you for joining and participating. But at the same time as well, I want to keep that stuff away from Ram Showcase. And I think the atmosphere out there kind of took hold of me a little bit. So if there was anybody out there that didn't prefer what was happening in that pregame live, I do apologize, and I can confirm that that's not going to happen again. We like to keep it pretty standard here at Ram Showcase, and a family-friendly show. And unfortunately, that was not as family-friendly as I wanted it to be, and it wasn't that crazy. Just a couple of curse words here and there, but that's really not my style. And I wanted to kind of just, I guess, reiterate that is not what we're about here at Ram Showcase, and I'm going to do better. That's simply put. So then we get our Uber to the game, and we're going super early, obviously, because we want to get there with plenty of time to really soak it in. And our Uber driver is one of the coolest human beings I've ever encountered in my entire life. Oni is his name, and unbelievable. And so what happens is we kind of start talking to him. We're like, hey, man, it's our first time out here. Like, can we stop at a liquor store and all this stuff? We're just kind of hanging out, and he's like, you know what? Shut off your ride, man. I'll shut off on my side. He's like, make sure you tip your Uber driver well, man, but let's go see some stuff. And holy crap, did we see some stuff? It was so amazing. Oni knows that place like the back of his hand. He's lived there for quite some time. So he takes us to East High School, which is where the Packers played from the 20s and through the 50s. So if you're doing your math there right, and I would hope you are, that means the Cleveland Rams have played on the field that he took us to. And that is just unbelievable. Like I said, one of just the best human beings I had ever met. He shows us around Green Bay, East High School, the University of Green Bay. He took us to because everything's underground, and he thought that was such a cool thing. He was like, "You need to see this." Like it was so awesome. He showed us the bay. He got us the liquor store stop, of course, and then we show up to the game and we start making friends with our beers. So we have beers with us, and that was for the sole purpose of making friends while we were out there. If anybody has any food, anything like that, we could do some tradesies, anything. But so we find the players lot, which is right next to where the Johnsonville Brat tailgate village thing is. And we see, at first we're walking up, and I see this car pulling in, and I'm like, that guy looks so familiar. And then I hear somebody else say, hey, that's Mark Murphy, the Packers president. It was like, holy crap, this is the players lot, dude. Let's hang out. So we see like guys like Aaron Rodgers drive in, a couple people we didn't recognize. Rich Bisaccia, we saw him pull in. That was pretty cool stuff. I started yelling, hey, you should have got that job in Vegas, like, stuff like that. Naturally, because I'm a big football fan. I follow it all, even though the Rams are the number one in my top team for sure. But let's see here. So then we're doing that. We kind of find a tailgate. We find these dudes who were so awesome, so hospitable. Everybody out there, though, incredible. I didn't run into a single jerk out there. It was so cool. I was probably the biggest jerk of everybody out there. I was fine the entire time, but it was so cool, man. They're just giving us food. We're like, hey, you need beers? He's like, dude, just enjoy the brat. Like, stop. Like, it's like, just have fun, man. You're here. The first time you're here. Welcome to Green Bay, man. And it's just absolutely unbelievable. So then we head inside. We hit the Packers Hall of Fame to hit that tour. Unbelievable as well. I confirmed that I could totally take down Reggie White. There's no doubt about it. He doesn't stand a chance against Sheriff Joe Baggs. and then, of course, like I said, I'm just a big football fan. So seeing such a historic place, such a historic team in a historic venue, and seeing their Hall of Fame, unreal. And then, of course, I'm picking out my Rams players in like with the footballs like Al Harris and stuff like that. You see like the spot where they have where they've got Lombardi's stuff and he's got like a handwritten letter to his wife and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm going to sound a little corny here, but I'm like almost being brought to tears by this stuff because being such a huge football fan, understanding the history, and it's like, man, we just won the trophy that's named after this guy. You know what I mean? And it was just a surreal experience. And this is all, keep in mind, before a game even started, which was why we went out there. We could have done this at any time, but we went out there for the game. So obviously seeing the Hall of Fame that's at Lambeau Field, such a historic venue, unbelievable. And we're seeing because during the tour, we got to go to field level and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there, my brain immediately goes to like, man, Deacon Jones has played here. Mike Lansford's kicked here. Jackie Slater's pancaked people here. Like that's where my brain goes immediately, which is just really cool. But so then we kind of get into to the game and start, finding our seats, grabbing our beers and stuff like that. And hey, shout out to Jerry, because it's so cool to me to meet people who listen to my show. That's one of my favorite things ever. Going out to LA and seeing people just tap on my shoulder while I'm wearing my Sheriff Joe Bags jersey and they don't want anything. They're not trying to get anything from me. They say, hey man, I love the show. And then just keep walking. It's like, hey, come back, but that was so cool. And Jerry, he took time to actually like come find us and stuff like that. I had a good little chat with him. So dude, hey, awesome to meet you, man. He's one of the owners of a Rams Showcase t-shirt. Great dude. Hope you got home safe, man. I know I have a message from you that I never got back to you, but I do hope you got home safe, man. Awesome to meet you. And I hope I can meet everybody, man. I want to meet everybody that listens to my show all the time. It's good stuff. And then, all right, so we're leaving the game. After the game ends, of course, we see some history be made. Tyler Higbee ties the Rams franchise record for most touchdown catches by a tight end in team history. Baker Mayfield's 100th career touchdown pass. So leaving the game, we pull up Ubers, obviously way too ridiculously expensive. And there's a huge wait list and all this stuff. So you know what? We're feeling pretty good. We're feeling decently warm. It wasn't as cold as we maybe expected it to be, or maybe we're not feeling as cold as we expected to be. And maybe our heaters were working a little well. But our hotel's only about 2 miles away, 2.1 miles away. So we just start walking. We just start, just hoofing it. Not a big deal. It's just down the road. It's a straight shot. And so we kind of start leaving. And my friend Jackson, he kind of jokingly just kind of like tosses out a thumb, like we're going to hitchhike or something. And then immediately, and not even for the purposes of story, for the purposes of telling an accurate story, immediately we see somebody roll down the window and go, hey, and it's some of the dudes that we were standing outside with at the players lot, before the game, and they recognized my Jordan Fuller jersey. And so they stop, they pull into this KFC parking lot. They let us in, hand us 2 beers right away. We're sitting in the back seat of their car, getting a ride back to the hotel. So unbelievable stuff there as well. We get all the way back to the hotel, and of course, we're just tired, kind of beat. Well, we just go to bed, and then because we got a flight in the morning, so we got about 3 hours of sleep. Wake up, get ready, pack up, get out of the door. We get to the hotel or to the airport, and right away we're walking into the airport. Well, I'm still like tying my shoes, and we hear our name over the intercom. When you hear your name over the intercom at the airport, your mind goes immediately to bad things, right? Like nothing good's gonna happen from this. And so then it's like, just find a ticketing agent. We find the ticketing agent. It's like, hey, you guys are going back to Denver, right? I'm like, yeah. They say, how would you like to get there 4 hours early? Well, that sounds absolutely fantastic, Delta. Thank you. And so we end up, instead of going to Detroit back to Denver, we had to Minnesota back to Denver and get back home 4 hours early. And then I slept for 16 hours. So that's cool, huh? And I still don't feel like I am fully ready, fully back into it. But despite the outcome of the game, I got to see the Los Angeles Rams play at Lambeau Field in December, Monday Night Football primetime. What a weekend. It was unreal. Met some incredible people. Would love to go back. Everybody out there was like the nicest human being I had ever met in my life. Everybody was cool. Everybody was helpful. Everybody was hospitable. Everybody was giving. I can't explain that because I'm used to going to LA, I guess, to go to Rams games where everybody's kind of a jerk. And that's not to be a personal attack on anybody, but it is true. It is just a whole different vibe. So to everybody out there, genuinely thank you to my buddy Jackson. Man, what a friggin' weekend. That was absolutely unbelievable. Jerry, awesome to meet you, man. Baker Mayfield, congrats on career pass number 100. Joe, our tour guide, thank you for everything, man. And just thank you to everybody out there, man. It was so much fun. Would love to do it again sometime. And I got to see the Rams, Lambeau, primetime. Something I'll definitely never forget.